immediate LSK president and also aspiring member of parliament Westlands constituency. Nimeona siku hizi ameingia ground kabisa kwa mahali inaitwa Hatikweki na walikuwa wanatomeka juzi. Atatuambia hali ya siasa vipi na ni mpangilio gani ambayo kuna kwa watu wa Westlands constituency pale Nairobi, na pia tuambie siasa pia inaenda vipi. Jana tumesikia pia there have been some confession, someone entered into a confession box and talked about some electoral malpractices, what she claims to have happened before and what could be or could happen even at this time. So we're going to delve into some of these issues as well. You'll be discussing the political parties bill, which is now facing a court battle in court. Kotini kimumana kidogo. There will be groups that have gone to court to request for its suspension. And we'll also be talking about the elections bill that somehow never got to see the light of the day. But we look at it, what are the intentions and what are some of the gains that it wanted to reverse from the constitution of Kenya and the electoral process. Lakini kama kawaida, lazima tuende mbele za Mungu tuombe, alafu kirudi basi na kuja kuwapa salamu zenu. Mighty Father, we come before you this morning. We worship you, glorify your name. Thank you for another opportunity to be alive this morning. We thank you for this conversation as we have it. May it edify the fabric of this country. For you praise, trusting and believing. Amen and amen. Sante, when you join, please like. When you like, we get to know that you're watching us. And after like, please share. When you share, you give someone else an opportunity to watch the broadcast. Tafadhali ukifika pale like, ukisha like unajua kwamba unatazama. Na ukisha like tafadhali share. Ukisha unapa mtu mwingine nafasi ya kuweza kutazama broadcast ya leo ya Sheria Wiki Hii tarehe 11 mwezi wa pili mwaka 2022. Na tuko na President Nelson Havi ambaye anaomba kura pale Western constituency. Tunasubiri pia presidential candidate EKURU EUKOT. Bado hajatangaza, sijui anangoja yake, sijui ataita. Kulikuwa na earthquake, kukakuwa na gani nyingine ila hoka. Tsunami. So sijui yake ataita vipi hailstorms. EKURU itakuwa gani? Atakuja atuambie. Lakini happy new year mheshimiwa.
Happy new year. How are you?
Salama sana, good to see you.
Asante sana.
Hatujaonana hii mwaka.
Oh, time passes pretty fast.
Yeah. Last time you're here was last year.
Yes.
Our thanks.
So far, so good. We are following the developments in the political environment in Kenya. You've set out some in a very elaborate way.
Yes.
But what we must take cognizance of are the determined effort to use the legislative process to determine the course of this year's election outcome. You saw it through the Political Parties Act amendment, which sought to negate the freedom of the people to choose which political parties to belong to, at what point in time to move, giving non-existent powers to the register of political parties. And then fast forward, we've seen attempts to amend the Elections Act to interfere with the manner of tallying, transmission, and declaration of the election of President of the Republic of Kenya. All geared toward one outcome, because it's quite apparent a key political player in the contest for election of President has realized that his chances of succeeding President Uhuru Kenyatta are a snowball chance in hell. So it is from that perspective that we evaluate this week's legal events.
Right. Okay, and you also seen last week the president came out guns blazing against his deputy president, and he has spoken very strongly on his intentions to participate in politics. Amesema wakati wenu mulianza, wakati wetu pia umeanza wakati huo. So it's interesting how it's gonna pan out. And you've seen the deputy president has come back as well, shooting back and talking about wako juu ya magari wakifanya kazi. Wanasema ofisini in theory, practical ni huko nje. I mean, it's interesting. Who will blink first? Who will blink first is the question. And also you're wondering, what is it with the obsession to change electoral laws 6 months down towards an election? But anyway, let me ask you, let's start with the president. If you're president, if you're President Uhuru Kenyatta, what would you do?
Well,
what would you be doing at this point?
I'm a president.
Yes.
President.
Are you managing your succession?
Presidents are supposed to behave in a manner fitting their offices. They're supposed to manifest a lot of decorum. Look, there is a duty of candor on any public leader. And I always take the example of President Barack Obama. You saw how he treated his succession. Well, fundamentally, when it came for the opportunity for Joe Biden to run for office, he gave Joe Biden all the support that Joe Biden needed. And in this particular case, I mean, we're not lamenting, we're not crying that Deputy President William Samoei Ruto requires the support or the backing of Uhuru Kenyatta. I mean, everybody knows Uhuru Kenyatta is in office courtesy of the hard work of William Samoei Ruto. But there are certain principles of leadership that must be respected. I mean, how will you embark on an exercise of supporting an opposition leader, yet you have a deputy president with whom you ran with? Like for me, I'm leaving LSK. I must of necessity support my vice president, Daudi Caroline Kamende, because she was not only loyal, but she played her role fundamentally to sustain the society within the turbulent time that we suffered. I mean, that we served. Suffering all those perils from those who wanted to detract us from our work. So it was the expectation that the worst Uhuru Kenyatta would have done was to keep off this thing. But that notwithstanding, let us interrogate the issues that we have said can be attributed to him. The political parties amendment bill was his enterprise. The elections amendment bill 2022 is also his enterprise. And we can see through the cloak, we can see through the cloud what he wants to do. It is a realization on his part that his project cannot succeed. So what do? You cobble arrangements, you tinker with the law, you undertake legislative craft so that you attain a desired outcome. Has it been tried before? Yes, it's been tried before in many ways. In fact, with him when he first ran for president and didn't succeed.
In 2002.
The most important thing, therefore, is to let the people of Kenya exercise their will, exercise the power given to them by the Constitution to elect leaders of their choice. That is, in essence, what democratic space entails.
President, good morning.
Good morning, Peter.
Happy Friday. Najua nilikuwa naambia President hapa pia.
President.
Nilikuwa namwambia Happy New Year and Happy Friday.
Yeah, actually, I haven't seen you this year. My pleasure.
Good to see you, Dr.
We haven't seen each other. I've also not seen him this year.
Right.
You well? About your Friday?
I'm very well. I think, yes.
Oh, melala
Good
kidogo.
Friday. Yeah, today I overslept kidogo. But here I am.
Karibu sana. Haya, umesikia dunia vile inaenda. What is the state of the nation, mahali upo?
To be frank with you, I think we're at crossroads as a country, in my view. There is total confusion, everywhere, in all the political formations that you see. There is dishonesty from either camp. And I think, I don't think anybody from either camp, except Thirdway Alliance Kenya, can actually moralize the other. I think in this country, politically, we've lived a life for a long time. It's unfortunate that in our country today, we are defining the country in terms of personalities, 1 or 2 or 3 personalities. And I think at the end of the day, in my view, it is the people of Kenya who suffer. But having said that, I'm happy that new people are interested in the leadership of this country, including my president here from the LSK, now wanting to go into politics. And I hope that, and I wish him success, that I hope really we can change the political narrative in this country so that we can begin to talk about issues and not individuals, not the commercialization of politics the way I'm seeing it. There is too much hatred, actually. And I think just to pick from what President HAVI said, succession politics ought to be about how do you prepare a country for a peaceful transition. Right now, in my view, the way I'm seeing it, looking at the behavior of the president, the attempt to change the laws, especially in an election year, knowing very well how our elections are very contested, tribally, not contested in terms of ideas, tribally. It really it scares me because when I hear clips, people saying, "Oh, we are from this region and we must get certain position," for example, this is not a position for tribes. it's positioned on how you can actually serve the people of Kenya. So to that extent, for me, I'm not very happy, and I wish that. And I think for me, I mean, there is already, I think, polls indicating that maybe about 40% of Kenyans will either not vote or they're just disillusioned because they don't see an alternative. And really, I just hope that Kenyans can think about themselves first instead of thinking about the people. You know, yesterday, Bitoka, it's a very strange thing. I was having a conversation with some friends, and they were telling me, how come we have got we're in a pandemic, and the government has put certain measures in this pandemic, but look at the behavior of people in political rallies. So really, who is the fool here? Is it the political class that actually wants to leadership, or is it actually the people of Kenya who throng these political rallies? I also saw my president HAVI here in some serious political rallies where people are not wearing masks, yet the same government is saying, well, let's wear masks. Let's, So I think we are just a confused lot. And by the way, there's now a study that has shown that we are one of the most depressed countries in Africa.
Kenya?
Yes.
We're
actually number 4 in Africa.
Number 4 in Africa?
Yes.
Okay.
The most depressed people. So I don't know where this depression is coming from. It's either because of just the way the situation is in the country generally, or just we have given up on our country. So I don't know. I think for me, in a summary, when I think about depression, us being number four depressed country in Africa,
we are doing well. At least there's something we're on top 5.
I don't know. That's a
badly. What do you think we are depressed, President? Are you depressed?
The headline today. Of course, I'm human. I'm depressed considerably because of the manner in which certain individuals in the government seek to control how the rest of us must live our lives. But despite the fact that we are all depressed, we should never despair. I needed to point out the headline today. It must be in the Standard.
The Daily Nation.
I think the Daily Nation.
4 out of 10 Kenyans can't pay rent.
4 out of 10 Kenyans cannot pay rent.
Yes, it's on the Daily Nation.
And the reasons have been well elaborated is because of the measures that were put in place by the government in an attempt to contain the spread of COVID-19. And we are not yet over the KEMSA scandal, amongst many other scandals where colossal sums of monies were pilfered, all in the name of providing medicament, providing containment measures, providing masks, etc. It is a failure of leadership in this country. It is something that we must look into and say, perhaps as we go towards this election, we need to examine what is the quality of leaders we want. We have individuals who aim at sustaining themselves, bettering their own selves, their families, making the problems of the society far away from them instead of solving that problem. No, that should not be the hallmark of good leadership. Good leadership should entail solving the problems for the entire society, not just for yourself. But what we've seen and what we continue seeing are attempts to better individuals, to allocate officers, to plan succession, to secure your future tomorrow. That is wrong. And that is the culture of selfish leadership that Dr. EUKOT has been referring to. No wonder, therefore, many of us, especially in the legal profession, and I must lament the failure by other professions to venture into elective politics, because it is in the legislature that key decisions relating to law, policy, oversight are made. If as a doctor, if as an accountant, if as a journalist, if as a teacher, you want your affairs taken into account, not just in the short term but in the long term, you must of necessity deputize some of your colleagues to get into the decision-making process, to get into the law-making process, to get into the oversight mechanism of government. And I want to call upon Kenyans to encourage leaders who have the ability to serve, to run for office. And when the time comes to vote, they must do the correct thing, make a choice that will better Kenya, so that we progress. Otherwise, we'll continue stagnating, and
we'll never get to
it is us who will suffer.
Dr. I don't know if you've heard, if you were following yesterday, the rallies that are going on. There's a statement that was made by Muranga women, is it Muranga women group? Sabina Chege. Akasema wanafikiria wataiba, kuna kaukweli tuliba 2017, na hiyo kitu tutafanya pia bado. Where does it, at the point where we are pushing and pulling about the credibility of elections and IBC for that matter, what picture does it paint? What's your feeling? What do you think she meant by that statement?
You know, I think in the most recent history of this country, there's never really been fairness in elections. When leaders confess publicly that tutaiba, tuliiba, this is an indictment, one, on the laws of election in this country. To what extent are these laws capable of holding people accountable? Yeah? Or, you know, both President HAVI and I are lawyers, and we have participated in election petitions. But you know, every time there is a finding that this election was not conducted properly, or for example, let's take 2017 as an example. In 2017, I participated in the nullification of President Uhuru Kenyatta's election of August 2017. But what I would have expected, if we had serious laws, if we had a serious institution, is that now there was a finding there were irregularities and illegalities committed, for example, in the transmission of results. So who is this person who orchestrated those illegalities or irregularities?
Okay.
Already there we are talking about an election offense committed. So to what Sabina Chege is saying, if we had serious institutions in this country, they would already be saying, okay, you need to give us a statement how the election was stolen in 2017 and who actually did it. And therefore we should expect, for example, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution to begin investigation, or Mr. Kinoti himself to start saying, I think there's a confession here about the commission of an offense of a criminal nature. Election offense. So let's establish that. And yes, we shouldn't be surprised as a country when, for example, we are seeing the President of the Republic of Kenya, in my view, originating an amendment to an election law. Yeah? It goes to the leader of majority, who actually is taking a cue, of course, from the president, and then you see all this confusion happening. So it's unfortunate that, and this is really because, I mean, again, to just borrow from President HAVI, his view, I think as many of us as possible really need to get involved in politics, because really, what is politics be talk? For me, politics is the totality of everything about our country. It's about economic decisions. It's about policy decisions that affect us in terms of health, security, education, even just our own existence. So you cannot sit pretty and say, I'm a lawyer, I'm an accountant, so long as I have my salary. And let me tell you, when I thought about this story of us being one of the most depressed countries in Africa, these days I've stopped talking politics with friends who call me and telling me, let's meet in a social place. And all they do is they want to drink wine and drink fine whiskey. And then they keep on lamenting about politics, but they're doing nothing about it. It really pisses me off. And I tell guys, you know what? If we're in a bar, and all you want to talk about is, let's just have a good time. But don't tell me about politics, how politics is bad in this country, how we are being manipulated, tribally,
if you
as
don't
professionals, and we are doing nothing about it. Kama tumekuja kwa bar, tukunywe tu pombe, tuache story mingi. Yeah. Lakini kama tunataka kubadilisha hii country, tufanye kitu. Let's do something. And for me, and that's why for me I'm very happy that President HAVI, with all his experience and work, what he has done in the LSK, he's finally decided, you know what, I want to go into national politics. I think we should. And that's why for me, Bitok, I'll still be in the ballot this year to offer my narrative about what I think about this country.
Okay.
Because I just feel bad that as a country, we keep on saying that we are one of the most educated countries in sub-Saharan Africa. But what has our education actually benefited us? How has it benefited us? If we cannot apply our knowledge, our know-how on how we can make our society better, then we are just useless as a people.
Okay.
And so in my view, some of these confessions that we see in political rallies really ought to be taken very, very seriously. And serious Kenyans must say, we have to replace these people. You know, shida moja tuko nayo Kenya hii bito, tumewachia siasa ama nchi kwa watu wachache. Okay. Yani wengine wetu we are just a political flower girls. Kazi yetu ni kushangilia, mbwembwe na kusherekea hawa jamaa. Lakini leo ukiambiwa Nelson HAVI andakwa, some people will say, why can't he just stay as a lawyer? You know, when I ran as president, some of the people who criticized me the most and told me, "EKURU, you're wasting your time." Actually, fellow colleagues, you know, professionals, instead of saying, "By the way, let's listen to what this guy has to say." Unfortunately, we have surrendered and that's why you can see all these shenanigans. People can stand up in a rally, someone like Atuoli, an old man, really can be abusive, you know, publicly, you know, even saying that go and destroy some. I mean, I'm not holding William Ruto's brief here. Maybe Nelson Huld better than I am because he's in UDA. but I was just too saddened that elders like Atuoli, I mean, I don't even know whether we can call him an elder because
no, it's not an elder. But
that's not. Yeah.
You see. There is an adage, foolish also grows old. It doesn't matter how old you've grown. If you're a fool, you're just a fool. Yeah. And the best depiction you can have for Francis Atuoli is the one that Honorable Musalia Mudavadi said. This guy is just a clown. And the fact that he puts on a chain, the fact that he has amassed some wealth, he has some body mass, doesn't negate the degree of his foolishness. I mean,
you know, President, let me tell you, I was the chairman of the National Labour Board sometimes back. And Atuoli used to be the member of my board. One of the problems I had with this Atuoli guy is that he destroyed any trade unions. And I remember asking him, Atuoli, have you read the Constitution of Kenya?
Yes.
The Constitution of Kenya allows anybody to belong to any political formation, trade union or whatever. But, Bito, back to the point. The conduct of the political class in this country, especially the elected one, is abhorrible. I mean, it needs to be fixed. And for me, I feel it's time a new generation of Kenyans came out and actually get interested into politics. And for me, I want us to see politics here positively. Politics is not about contestation, about tribes or numbers. Because today, I saw, for example, with the decision that Mudavadi made, he's being vilified, he's been called mwanamke, ameolewa, na mwanaume mwingine. I mean, but it was okay, for example, if Mudavadi was just an underdog under Raila. You see, I mean, this kind of intolerance in our country really calls for new thinking, new people to come up and begin to do something. Someone like Sabina Chege today, and I'm really hoping that Kinoti can actually summon her and tell her, okay, can you record a statement? Because what you said is very disturbing. You're actually confessing there was a criminal offense that took place in 2017 in terms of the election. So are you also planning, you know? So there's a conspiracy. There are so many offenses you can actually draw from a statement, you know? And I think really we need to call these people to account, and we must see institutions, you know? And it's also like an indictment of IEBC. So to what extent was IEBC, you know, knowledgeable of that theft of the votes, you know?
Okay. Mheshimiwa HAVI, nimeona wamezungumzia Atuoli, wamezungumzia Mudavadi, tunazunguka kwenu. Nazungukeko hapa kwenu. I mean, what is the state of politics, especially in Western Kenya? There seems to be some lack of decorum in its conduct.
Several points. Let me pick up from where we started about the Sabina Chege incidents in Vihiga. I want to examine it from this perspective.
Okay.
It is a manifestation of the low quality of leaders we have in the legislature. Look at what she said. Look at who she was with. Look at the crowd she was addressing.
Okay.
These are the type of people you expect to make laws for you, to oversight national revenue allocation, to be in charge of constituency development fund, to oversight appointments in the executive. If I could borrow the word used by Amin Nasir Abdullahi yesterday, referring to them when they were posing in front of a chopper, like small kids posing in front of a toy. They're miscreants. They're miscreants using our public funds to come and vomit on our fate, to use the words of Sir Edward Clay. Because where can Sabina Cheke get money to hire a chopper? Where can I also get money to hire a chopper? It's our money.
But Joe was there. Joe has money.
It doesn't matter. I don't want to speak about Joe.
Even Joe's money, where's
money? Some of these guys
we know their salaries.
Have to explain where they've come from. You understand?
Yes.
And when I don't ascribe to the demand that every elected leader must have a degree, but you must have a vocation. You must have something indicative of what you've done. You just don't come to the IBC with a degree obtained from a university atop a tuck shop on River Road and tell us you're qualified as an accountant, you're qualified as a doctor or as a lawyer. No, we must see where you've come from. You understand? Then let's go back to Western. You seem to indicate that there's discord. I don't think there is discord. This is a case of a jilted lover. Raila Amolo Odinga has decided to be the fool that will always be fooled. You understand?
Okay.
Otherwise, how will he or his people countenance the statement by Sabina Chege that tulikuibia wakati ule, lakini tutaona namna ya kufanya sahi tunasaidia jamaa. He's a fool, and all those cheering in that gathering are fools. But the people of Western Kenya have seen the light. They have decided that there will not be the band of fools that entertain that arrangement that is otherwise known as ODM, now being painted to look like Azimio. That is the reason as to why Honorable Musalia Mudavadi and Honorable Moses Wetangula, amongst many other leaders in Western, have said, we will affiliate ourselves to a movement that is transformative, a movement that has the capacity of sustaining the democratic space in Kenya, one that has the wherewithal of improving the economy, ensuring that there is youth empowerment. Everybody has his or her space in the role to play in this country. And it is therefore my expectation that this resolve will be sustained until August, in order that the Kenya Kwanza Alliance that is being put in place forms government, so that we are able to put pesa mfukoni, we're able to improve the economy, we're able to ensure that these complaints that are now prevalent of people suffering depression, not being able to meet their ends, are non-existent. Because, and let me pick from what Dictaria said, you know, there are people who, when you say there is a financial problem in this Kenya, they look at you and what are you talking about? Because they have billions of shillings in their accounts, money that they have pilfered from our pockets. It's not that Kenyans are poor. I mean, Bitok, you're not poor. I'm not poor. He is not poor. He's not poor. The point is, taxes collected from our main pockets have been accumulated for the benefit of a few individuals.
Okay.
And it is these individuals who always conglomerate in hotels and purport to determine for the people of Kenya what laws should be enacted by Parliament, what leaders you should have. That is a matter that must be put to a halt. And to conclude, the people of Western Kenya, and I will be in Kakamega tomorrow to drum up support for this initiative, because it is imperative, and I want to encourage EKURU, I want to encourage all professionals. We should not leave the business of politics to those people who are otherwise categorized as career politicians. Not that all of them are career politicians. William Samoei Ruto, for instance, is a scientist. His Excellency Musalia Mudavadi is an economist. Moses Wetangula is a distinguished lawyer. You understand? That is why when I affiliate with these people, I'm talking about professionals who have ventured into politics. And I want more professionals. I want teachers. I want journalists. I want accountants. I want mechanics. Everybody to play a role in the choice of leadership in this country. Because if we don't, somebody else will play that role. And that person who may play that role may not have the ability.
But Prezo, wouldn't you say that Raila has also claimed to be an engineer? And Uhuru is also claimed to be an economist.
Yes.
So what's wrong with them playing politics?
Everything is wrong with them because they have outlived their usefulness. The economy that they ascribe to, the engineering that they ascribe to, is no longer of use to this country. Look, truth be told.
You once called someone hot water engineer. Was that him or was someone else?
Well, actually, there's a question that's been posed. Man, maybe one day we talk, you may want to host Raila. I mean,
we are pursuing
I can tell of my classmates, both in the bench as judges, magistrates, lawyers. I don't know who's Raila's classmates.
No, Dr. I think we need to respect these two old men, Raila Amolo Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta. They are distinguished in whatever fields they claim to be distinguished. I think they must have studied when you and I were not born, so it's not within our province to interrogate. But we can see, as a matter of fact, we have seen the progression of Dr. William Samoei Ruto as a scientist before he became a leader.
I'm not sure. I don't know where he studied, where he's practicing his science.
We've seen the progression of His Excellency Musalia Mudavadi. We've seen the progression of Moses Wetangula. But let's stop speaking about other people.
Okay.
We have seen our own progression.
Yes.
We've seen how much work we've done, you and I, in the legal profession, both in court, in parliament and elsewhere. And this gives us the best opportunity to advance that which we've stood for, a career path towards good governance, a career path towards selfless leadership. And that's what we must advocate for.
And think about Kakamega.
Before, I don't think I would not want to allow Prezo to get away with that. Because the people...
I thought I got away with it.
No, not yet. Okay. Not yet. I'm still going to put you on the spot. But before that, I mean, listen, there's something that one of the diehard listeners of this show, Erickson Odhiambo, is actually raising.
Yes.
And this is what he says, and I just want to read for the listeners. Erickson Odhiambo is saying, I have come to a conclusion that us Kenyans are generally fools by nature.
Okay.
I can't understand how a population of 47 plus million people who undergo universal suffrage can only pin their minds to a few tired names for the highest office of the land and the least qualified. Now, this is an ordinary Kenyan, hard-working Kenyan, and I know Erickson. But President, I understand, of course, your support for William Ruto, Musalia Mudavadi, Wetangula. But let's also be very honest. There is a degree of dishonesty even among those same people.
Yes.
One, I want you to explain maybe to the people, to the listeners, because here we tackle issues. All these folks have been in government, very high senior levels, very senior positions. William Ruto has been a minister, has been this. He's now the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. When we say that Jubilee is a failed government, and we all agree it's a failed government,
Yes.
How then are we isolating people who are actually part of that government, including William Samoei Ruto himself? Musalia Mudavadi, for example, was a minister for finance at a time when, you remember when we had structural adjustment programs in this country, World Bank. Even you think about the Goldenberg scandal, you cannot exonerate Musalia Mudavadi. Wetangula, when you think about, for example, the scandals around embassies in Abuja, in Tokyo, you cannot exonerate these people. They have been part and parcel of the system. Prezo, convince us here. What is new about these individuals? For example, your own presidential candidate, William Samoei Ruto, was part of the lies that Jubilee government actually fed Kenyans from 2013. For example, they said, a laptop per every child. You know, I think, again, to Erickson's point, that I think we Kenyans are fools because they made promises to us that they never delivered. I remember 2017, it was the same Samuel Ruto now who you are supporting, who basically said that, oh, in 3 months, we'll have a stadium here. In 6 months, Kimarin, so you happy. Up to now, no. That will give young people bundles in every ward. Same thing with Musalia Mudavadi. He was castigating William Ruto. I mean, his videos are all out there. You know, him talking very bad about William Samuel Ruto. I think, Prezo, what we need to do going forward, even as you answer this question for the listeners, we need to clean our politics. There's a lot of dishonesty in our politics. That today, I can call you, cast aspersions on you, call you all manner of names, you know, and then tomorrow I'm saying, oh, there are no permanent enemies in politics. I think for me, where we have reached as a country, there has to be permanent enemies in politics. Because when people cause suffering and death to majority of, to millions of people, for example, you think about the KEMSA scandals, for example, where actually you're stealing money from the dead. There has to be permanent enemy. Those people cannot regroup again and say, oh, now we are clean people. So I think, President, let's also be very honest. I mean, I'm excited about you going into politics, but let's also not be part and parcel of the lying culture in this country. That really,
Dr.
I say with a lot of...
I agree with you entirely. I also agree with the sentiments by the gentleman who said we should get out of the cocoon of foolishness.
Yeah.
I, for once, have decided to get out of the cocoon of foolishness, and it's for that reason that despite having been a ardent supporter of his Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, I've said I will not affiliate myself to that cause. Why William Samoei Ruto? Why Musalia Mudavadi? Why Moses Wetangula? You know, I see in your criticism comments similar to those that were made by Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga a few days when Musalia Mudavadi and Moses Wetangula joined us, and he said, ule jamaa liba shamba ya Bagaburi, ule mwingine liba afisi ya ubalozi. Kwani when they were with him, he didn't know that waliba shamba ya makaburi, waliba shamba ya ubalozi. But fundamentally, if at all there is any criminal culpability against Musalia Mudavadi and Moses Wetangula, where is the conviction? As a matter of fact, they were not charged.
That's true.
They were not convicted. So let us exonerate them.
But wasn't William Ruto charged?
Dr. I'm going sequentially. Okay. You know, the problem with us lawyers, we go in a very linear pattern, in an orderly way. Despite the fact that even in a public gathering you can get animated. But let me pursue
with respect,
this.
Yes. Okay.
The fact of the matter is this. They are not criminally liable for these claims. The individuals who are criminally liable, some who are arraigned in court, in fact, like with the Tokyo embassy, those who are arraigned in court were acquitted. Yeah. For the cemetery land, there are those who are convicted and others who are acquitted. So I can exonerate these two individuals, Musalia Mudavadi and Moses Wetangula. No criminal culpability. You understand? Let's go to William Samoei Ruto. He has never run as president before. He's running as president for the first time.
It's true.
He needs to be given an opportunity to demonstrate his ability to serve as president. Has he served in previous governments before? Yes, he has served as minister, as assistant minister, and even as deputy president. To whom does the responsibility of accounting for governmental promises rest? It is not the deputy president. It is the president. And I will elaborate. As vice president, how much progress was Mwai Kibaki able to do during the administration of Daniel Arap Moi? Zero, nothing. What did he do when he became president? Tremendous progress. There will be many allegations that have been made against Dr. William Samoei Ruto. I'll still give the answer because similar allegations have been made against me. Has he been charged? Has he been convicted of all these spurious claims that are being made? Raila Amolo Odinga keeps on saying, they belong in jail, they belong in jail. Which jail? Jail is an outcome of a criminal process. You cannot just throw these things in the air to castigate your opponents, can we also check what you're doing? Who are the beneficiaries of these KEMSA contracts? And they people affiliated to ODM? But more fundamentally, and I'll give you the example from the book of Genesis. You remember the deluge of Noah? What was the purpose of the deluge? Was to kill the Nephilims. Nephilims were the product of angels and humans, because the sons of God looked down and saw the daughters of man and said they were beautiful. Let's come and have sex with them and have children. That's when the world started drifting away from what was supposed to be good. So they had to be destroyed. What point am I trying to put across? The leaders we have are the leaders that are selected from our midst. We cannot expect leaders from heaven. What is important is for us to play our role, to interrogate what their agenda is, to interrogate what their manifestos are. But fundamentally, when it comes to the choice of President of the Republic of Kenya, I think that's the easiest job, because all you need to do is to promise to protect and uphold the Constitution. Between these two contestants, Dr. before I conclude.
I'm also a contestant. I hope you can also include
what will you before you get
among these
contestants?
One has stood firmly despite his perceived previous record. William Samuel Ruto has been firm insofar as the protection of the Constitution is concerned, insofar as the independence of the judiciary is concerned. Let's forget his collective responsibility with the government of President Uhuru Kenyatta.
No, we cannot forget that, Prezo.
Okay, well, let's put it aside.
You are still my president of the Law Society of Kenya. You lead over 15,000 or 20,000
I do
lawyers.
Yes.
So you, of all people, cannot tell us that we forget a constitutional principle about collective responsibility of a cabinet, including your own presidential candidate. And listen, I'm not saying that...
He's not been part of that collective responsibility for the last 4 years.
Prezo.
In fact, his place has been taken over by Raila Amolo Odinga.
You and I were practiced law. I've even appeared for you in one of your petitions.
Yes,
when
you are
we
the president's lawyer.
Yes, I was the president's lawyer. But the truth be told, you know, if there is one genius of Kenya's constitution, it's chapter 6.
Absolutely.
Leadership and integrity.
Yes.
You cannot be part of a cabal that you guys are now vilifying and saying that this Jubilee government has failed, but I've been part of it. And I've, you know, one of the things that Kenyans really wanted in the new constitutional dispensation is about a certain type and character of leaders.
Yes.
A certain type and character of leaders calls also for a degree of honesty. That if we are not serving the people of Kenya in the way we said we promised, then I don't want to be part and parcel of it. And for me, one of the challenges I have with your presidential candidate is that you cannot extricate yourself from the sins of this Jubilee administration. Just the same way I don't agree with Raila now pretending that he's a clean guy when he actually went and joined same government that he used to criticize. And by the way, I think Raila even committed a treasonable offense when he actually declared himself or swore himself to be president against the constitution. And you know that's against Article 3, Sub-Article 2 of our constitution. So for me, if we are to move away from discussing personalities, I think, Prezo, let's agree.
Yes.
There is a degree of dishonesty in our politics. Today, yes, I agree with you to the extent that nobody should vilify Musalia Mudavadi or Tangula for joining William Samuel Ruto. Because had they, for example, joined Raila Amolo Odinga, they'll probably be seen as good people, you know, they're right. So that kind of dishonesty for me is something that we really need to demystify and say, okay, Kenyans, which way for us? Are all these people the options actually for this country? You know, and therefore I tend to think that, and that's why for me I'm saying, I think I'll still be in this ballot to even to tell these people, no, you're not the best people, because after all, you've worked together. One minute you are lying to, and by the way, you know, like tunasema hapa sisi ni watabiri wa mambo ya kisiasa. It won't surprise me, Prezo, if William Ruto and Raila Odinga even gang up and work together.
You know what?
It won't surprise me.
You know what,
but you see, for me, the problem I have, the fear I have, is the people of Kenya. You know, Prezo, I think the other year before, we discussed a lot here about the the way the Kikuyu community, and let's now be specific,
Yes.
the way the Kikuyu community was mobilized politically, and the way the Luo community was mobilized politically around personalities of Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga. For example, Kikuyus were told, there's a phrase they use, they say, Udhamaki ni wito, dhamaki ni shao. Meaning that Udhamaki is leadership. We are the leadership of this country. Let those guys eat the fish.
Yes.
So very derogatory. But you see, at the end of the day, that Udhamaki and Dhamaki, they came together. They had a handshake in 2018. Where did the people who are now incited against each other remain? So you are this false narrative being created that, the handshake stopped war. I mean, you and I were in Kenya in 2017, 2018. Who was fighting who? I think for me, that dishonesty in our politics is for me what I don't like. Okay. Let's also be sincere. As much as I appreciate your support for your presidential candidate, but let's also hone up and say, okay, we've been part of this administration. We promised to deliver certain things to Kenyans. We never did them. And I think for me, that's the kind of honesty that I want us to take forward into politics. So that even for you, Prezo, when you go, and I hope I can change my vote and vote for you, because I want to see you in Parliament, so that we can begin to really change the character of Parliament today, which is really just Sokojinga. It's just a I don't know. It's a marketplace for every type of merchant. But we need to see serious debate. So, but let's try and see how can we speak about politics in a positive way in this country, so that today it cannot be William Ruto is part of this same government that we are vilifying, and then it is his constitutional right to run for presidency of this country. It is also everybody's constitutional right to support whoever they want. Okay. But can we at least be honest and say, okay, you and I know, constitutionally speaking, we have what we call accountability. What we call a mandatory, for example, accountability. Yes. You need to explain yourself. What are the failings? Sometimes honesty pia ni mzuri. Kwa nini tunaenda kanisa kila siku? Kwa hii nchi na tuwezi kutubu dhambi zetu.
A lawyer can do anything to win a case. Sometimes he can say the truth.
Sometimes he can lie.
In this case, Daktari,
sometimes he can also lie.
And listeners and viewers, the approach we need to adopt is not one of concealment, but one of explaining. Dr. William Samoei Ruto has not concealed. He has said, yes, we promised all these things. They were contained in the Big Four agenda. But midway, there was an interloper who came into a marriage. And for the last 4 years, we've not been able to develop. But I, as William Samoei Ruto, undertake to the people of Kenya to remedy my transgression. It is for these mitigatory factors, Daktari and listeners, that I must, of necessity, support Dr. William Samoei Ruto. And there's
nothing wrong with that.
And I want to advance this argument. To a greater extent, many people, the Mamamboga, the Boda people, are of that persuasion, because often the most complex issues are perceived in a very simplistic way. They have understood the failure to be a failure of Uhuru Kenyatta, occasioned by the intervention of Raila Amolo Odinga. And to that extent, they are prepared to allow Dr. William Samoei Ruto to serve them. But there is another category of people that we need to... Just a minute, I need to finish. I need to finish.
Let him finish.
There is a category of people that we need to appeal to. The middle class, the upper class, the semi-elite. These are the people that require conviction that within the Dr. William Samoei Ruto movement, now joined with His Excellency Musalia Mudavadi, Moses Wetangula, and many of us, there is an opportunity for us to progress. And ODM, now being rebranded as a MIO, can never be the alternative. And it's for that reason that this bloc continuously, day after day, seeks to paint Dr. William Samoei Ruto in bad light. But many of us are enlightened and we're able to see. But for us to move, we must appreciate, we must interrogate. We cannot just be told and accept false constructs without interrogating them. For instance, when they tell you, huyu anataka na kuwe kwa jela, jela gani? Makosa gani amefanya? Ameshtakiwa na nani? Amehukumiwa na nani? And then there's a point that you talked about, the ethnicization of Kenyan politics. It is at that point that I must say I've refused to be a fool. This is the reason why. When I ran for president of the Law Society, I still labored under the erroneous notion that there is ethnization in this contest. I mean, truth be told, there were about 2 candidates from the Mount Kenya region. I defeated them. In fact, I lost in Kakamega, I lost in Kisumu, I lost in Bungoma. But I won in the entire Mount Kenya. I won in the entire Northeast. Why? Because lawyers realized the need to elect somebody with the gravitas, the power to serve them. And I believe Kenya right now, it is at that stage where people will put aside ethnicity. We'll put aside our belonging as Luyas. We must put aside our belongings as Luo and stop being slaves to this ODM mentality that has prevailed for the last 20 years. We must chart a path because Raila Amolo Odinga will not be here in 10 years, 20 years. I mean, he's old.
But see,
time will take him out.
But see, President,
as we move, guys, I think we
time
also
will
need to
take
move
him
on.
out, but we must plan for ourselves. We are appreciative of what he has done, but we must leave. We must plan beyond Raila Amolo Odinga.
No,
it's a simple fact.
President, me, I want us to move away from discussing personalities.
That's what I'm thinking. Let's song now.
Yes, I know you support your candidate, Raila Odinga also, as is right. And you and I know that under the Constitution of Kenya, age should not be a matter for discriminating anyone, whether he's old or whatever, senile.
We must plan.
We must plan. And that's what
Queen Elizabeth has realized she will not be alive in 10 years. She has decided to resign in good time to allow her son to become king.
That's why for me, I think I'm partly excited that you are joining politics because this is the experience that I went through in 2017 when I decided to join politics. I think for me, one of the things that we challenge we must throw to the people, to the listeners here, is that we have left our politics in the hands of few individuals for far too long, and these people continue to ruin even our own relationships.
Yes.
The fact that now HAVI is being seen as a Luya, EKURU, Turkana, Bitok, Kalenjin, that cannot be our division. I think for me, we must be able to celebrate our diversity in this country, but under a proper leadership.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think for me, President, today if you are vying for President of the Republic of Kenya, I'll probably be your chief campaigner.
You know what? I wanted to vie, but I don't have money, so I must start from somewhere.
And you see now that's where part of the problem is. Why are we commercializing Kenyan politics?
I mean, that's the reality of this enterprise. If I had money, I would have run for president. And I said this in 20...
No, but President, you still...
I said this in
You're a man of means.
You still need money even to run for MP.
Of course, I can afford to run
small
for
scale.
MP.
Yeah. Small scale.
You see the enterprise that my boss is running daily throughout the country? You require a minimum of 10 million per day to run this enterprise, my friend.
But you see, I mean, again, this is one of the biggest questions.
The song. Let's move on. I want to take you back Kidogo to Kakamega. You mentioned that you guys are going back to Kakamega again tomorrow.
Yes, we'll be in Kakamega tomorrow.
Do you have a big catch? Because this will be the second time they're going in Kakamega in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You were in Kakamega the other day.
No, we're in Kakamega every day because Kakamega is home.
Why are you going back to Kakamega this Saturday? The whole entourage is going back to Kakamega.
Yeah, we have been...
Are there some news?
No, there's no news.
Is there a party?
There's no news. Yeah.
Yeah.
I need calm to contextualize this discussion. Western Kenya is pivotal.
Okay.
Western Kenya has a big voter basket.
What about 4 million? I think?
Yes. And we are determined to ensure that the entire basket votes with the Kenya Kwanza intended alliance. And it's for good reason. Because Western Kenya has suffered most as a result of the handshake. When Raila Amolo Odinga has pursued his political interests, and I'm not talking about personalities, even issues must be put within the context of the individuals behind it.
Okay.
Western Kenya has rallied behind him throughout.
That's true.
But when he gets an opportunity to cut a deal, he cuts a deal for himself, a few members of his family. Yeah. So we want to be resolute. We want to be in government. And this is a serious issue. Daktari is a serious. We want to be in government.
Yeah.
Because Daktari, if I'm a member of parliament for Westlands and we're not in government, I will not be able to effectively serve the people of Westlands and deliver to them all that is promised. That is the reason as to why people of Western Kenya must realize the need for us not only to have a majority in the National Assembly and the Senate, in the county governments, but to ensure that William Samoei Ruto is overwhelmingly elected so that he has the power to serve effectively. If we don't do that, we'll end up with a shaky situation. We'll end up with a scenario where we don't have a stake in government. And the three principles hitherto have guaranteed the participation of everybody in Kenya. And the reason as to why we must zero on Western Kenya is to make it affirmatively clear that this is a zone no longer available for ODM. It is a zone that has seen the light. It is a zone that must, of necessity, participate in the formation of the Hustlers Movement government.
All right. Now you're also waiting for you to run your presidential aspirations. Before you came in, we were having a discussion with President, and we were wondering how you're going to name yours, because we've had an earthquake. Some guys gave us a tsunami. There was a volcano somewhere. So Yako was due to hit a hailstorm.
I don't even know. I never even felt the tremors, leave alone the earthquake. But I'm told the earthquake was in the statement. But mine will still remain Punguza Mizigo. That will still
talking about corruption allegations and accusations of convenience. I think we live in a very interesting country. I remember back before 2017, before 2018, EKURU was under attack as being the chief of corruption in Jubilee government, NYS brand and all that. Then came 2018 during the handshake. They took out the laundry. They cleaned and cleaned and cleaned. Baba came out and said, nazimama no mama. Junan Muhammad came and said, Waiguru ni musafi kama famba. The other day, I saw they had branded her again as corrupt.
No, and Ruto called her what? Catwalking.
Catwalking. So I think we live in a very interesting nation. I just came through around, I came across a video on Moses Wetangula and the embassy scandals.
Yes.
And guess who cleaned them?
Yes.
Can you all guess who cleaned Moses Wetangula? Who do you think cleaned him?
No, I'm never in the habit of thinking. I evaluate facts.
Okay. Who cleaned him?
Before the table.
Who do you think cleaned him?
Who cleaned Wetangula? It was William Samoei Ruto.
You think it was William Samoei Ruto?
Yes, I think so.
All right, put on your headphones on. Let's get to know who cleaned Moses Wetangula.
These headphones will interfere with my nice hair.
With your hair? Okay, you can just put it close.
No, you can do it backwards like that.
You know, some of you don't have hair.
You can put it back. No. Jaribu kusema tuko na upara. Ama weke na ndevu, weke na chini.
Kwani ndasikiza hapa hivi.
Hauna ile nini ile kichana ya
niko na kichana naweza kukopesha. Aya, bring it up.
It was always going to be a sizzling affair as Odinga made his way to the chambers to explain the decision by the two principals to recall Moses Wetangula to the Foreign Affairs portfolio after he stepped aside over the scandal surrounding the purchase and disposal of Kenyan embassies abroad.
Honorable Wetangula has neither been recommended for prosecution nor charged any crimes before a court of law.
The investigations include one by the defunct Kenya Anti-Corruption Commission, the Treasury, the Controller and Auditor General's Special Audit, an internal audit from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and one by the Parliamentary Committee on Defense and Foreign Relations.
Why is Ruto not in cabinet if it's not a question of double standards? And Mr. Speaker, why is the Honorable Haron Mwao not back in office?
With respect to Honorable William Ruto, Mr. Speaker voluntarily asked that he wanted to be relinquished of his position because he was busy organizing another political party.
Ruto told Citizen TV he only sought a decision from the principals on where he stands, but never said he does not want back his ministerial position. In Parliament, meanwhile, the gloves were off.
Could the Prime Minister tell us that he was going all out of his way because he wanted to return a favor to the Honorable Moses Wetangula?
Ikolomani MP Dr. Boni Khalwale alleging Odinga's relatives were given jobs by Wetangula.
He should clarify whether Josephine Awor, who is in Harare, a relative of his spouse, is also the one who is causing this favor to be returned. Michael Oyugi, a director.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker. Point of order, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, point of order, Mr. Speaker. Point of order. Mr. Speaker, my tribe is being targeted. Point of order. Point of order, Mr. Speaker. My tribe is being targeted, Mr. Speaker.
A point of order, Mr. Speaker.
And they cannot come here to defend themselves, Mr. Speaker.
We will not going to allow.
All right. So, do you still want to guess again?
No. Permit me to speak about this.
right.
A few days ago, Moses Wetangula said, I will speak the truth, and I don't think Raila Amolo Odinga will be bold enough to stand. I now realize why. It's all there in black and white. It's a confirmation that it's a dogmatic approach, pedantic in my view. I think Muganga is always Muganga. he likes ganguaring whenever it suits him. But that's the reason as to why we have said, let's evaluate facts as and when they come. The issue relating to Moses Wetangula was finally addressed and closed. The issue relating to William Samuel Ruto was finally addressed and closed. Look, even Anne Waiguru, the one that you just put on the table right now, let's be fair. You're not guilty unless charged and convicted. Has she ever been charged and convicted? All these are allegations. And I, as a lawyer, despite whatever strong political affiliations I will have, I will never stand up and seek to convict anybody other than through the non-legal process. Unless otherwise convicted, you are innocent.
But
and I think that is a fundamental tenet of democratic rule.
Allow me, I don't want to discuss personalities, because I think this country is not about personalities.
Yes.
It's really about all of us, all the 50 million of us in equal measure. I think a fundamental issue that that video has raised is that Wakenya tunachezwa sana. Na tunachezwa na the same people all the time. And for me, I think maybe we need to continue a debate consistently about the dishonesty in our politics and who are the victims. Because today, Raila cleans up Wetangula. The other day, she was saying, this lady, Waiguru, she's okay, there's no problem. Ruto was calling a catwalking queen or whatever. Now they're ganging up together. At the end of the day, it's actually about us Kenyans, the majority of us Kenyans, the ordinary of us Kenyans who are not in leadership. All these folks will gang up at some point. They will gang up because they want to protect their interest. In fact, at the risk of being brutally honest, as we tackle things here in this show,
This is a
you see, Uhuru's support for Raila Amolo Odinga is trying to do a Putin on us. You remember President Vladimir Putin of Russia back in the days when he had finished his 2 terms, but he still wanted to continue as a powerhouse in Russia. So he encouraged his friend, it's called Medvedev, to run as president, and he became the prime minister. But he was actually putting the strings from behind. You know, I am seeing a similar situation emerging in Kenya with President Uhuru supporting Raila Amolo Odinga.
Dr. It won't happen. Kenyans are awoke, will not allow the shenanigans. We will shoot them down.
But that's a reality. That's a reality. Because even today, your candidate, Samuel Ruto, ganging up with Musalia Mudavadi and Wetangula, which is their right, constitutionally speaking.
Yes.
But we also know it's about their personal interest. It's about how they can. Because how is it in a country of 50 million people, 56 years later, 57 years later, as independent, that we can just be defined around 2-3 personalities?
But
for me today, if
I had money, I would have run for
like
president.
I said earlier, if my president HAVI today,
if I had the money you have, I would
not compete with him because I know he means well for the country, and so I think for me, Prezo, what I'm placing on the table here is this.
Yeah.
Where is the interest of Kenyans in all these political machinations vis-a-vis the interest of these few individuals? Because these same individuals, like that video says, one day they're abusing each other, they're blaming each other, tomorrow they're together. So it's about their interest. It's not about the interest of the ordinary Wanjiku. For example, people have asked a question. When
Is this for us?
Yes,
you need to
recharge.
recharge.
Need to
Because,
recharge.
you know, here
Need some
we-
energy.
You need some energy.
Because I'm having a headache. I was wondering what's happening. There was a good down.
So,
I'm getting old.
yeah. No, Prezo, you're a very young man. So
Yeah, I don't know why he keeps calling himself old.
And I think we need to talk about, for example, the dishonesty in our politicking. Okay? Politics is not bad.
Right.
Because politics is about our daily lives.
But dishonesty
also,
is
let's
about-
not, this dishonesty on the one hand, but also on the other hand, the people of Kenya are being duped and used, repeatedly by these same politicians who pretend they hate each other one minute. The next minute, they say, oh, we are not permanent enemies in politics. So today, I don't even understand how someone like Raila can cast aspersions against Mudavadi
Or Weta.
or Weta,
Even William Ruto.
even William Ruto.
Because William Ruto ensured that Raila won the 2007 elections. It's as simple as that.
No, 2007.
Yes, 2007.
Yes.
It was William Ruto.
Yeah, he supported.
It was
it.
an
Guys, it's-
So that dishonesty in politics, I think for me is something that we need to really discuss. And that's why for me, I think it is really important that a new crop of Kenyans must show interest in politics. And let's be honest, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether you are Luya, Turkana, Kikuyu, Kalenjin, whatever. You know, this country belongs to all of us in equal measure.
That's true.
It doesn't belong to a few individuals.
It doesn't belong to other people more.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
It's 8:47, and I have to remind you again as well that is show as well. It's our sponsors. Thank you so much for always for those who partner with us. Thank you so much for this partnering with us. I'll talk to you about roofing. If you are building, ensure that you roof with the best quality roofing materials from Rexer Roofing. Rexer Roofing are distributors, stockists and distributors of quality roofing materials, quality roofing shingles, stone gore tiles, UPVC, water harvesting gutters, and also waterproofing solutions. That is APP, waterproofing membrane, and waterproofing liquids, where you can get from Rexer Roofing in Kilimani, Menelik Road, first floor, Menelik Road, Menelik Court, first floor. Ukimbia pale unaweza kupa discount yako hadi 10% ama 10% ama 3% from Rexer Roofing. Because we're telling you that when you buy roofing materials from Rexer Roofing, we give you two guarantees. One guarantee is one massive guarantee of 10 years, that if you roof your house, you install ourselves, we are giving you a massive guarantee of 10 years, that if anything happens to your roof within the 10 years, we should be there on ground to ensure that it's well done and as new as it was. And also we're giving you a 50 years product guarantee. This is what we tell you, that when you buy roofing materials or building materials from Rexer Roofing, we give you 50 years guarantee. I don't know where you will be in the next 50 years, but I can assure you that your roof will still be there with you. Visit www.rexerroofing.com or pigia simu 704-646-664. Alafu basi unaweza kupata materials ya kujenga shwari zaidi. Ensure that you have your beautiful roof. It is what you tell you, that when you roof your house, you're not just roofing it, you're creating a legacy for your home. Haya, Rexer Roofing, www.rexerroofing.com. Chagua product yako, alafu basi 3% unaweza kupata courtesy of the tackle. Haya, we are coming back, and I want us to quickly run through something before we open Bunge na Mwenyenchi, and should be the legal issues of the week. One of the legal issues that still remains pending this week is a appeal case for BBI at the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
I mean, some people are beginning to
get worried.
To get worried that maybe
They're
we could have
wondering why they're taking so long
we could
to
have
pronounce.
the BBI back again. Another pending thing is the political parties bill, which is facing a court battle today. There was a submission that was done yesterday, and people are trying to stop its implementation in court. There's also the elections bill, which we don't know where it ended up in, because it came out, everyone denied it.
It was
very,
sponsored by government.
A child was born, they will know their parents, but now they're saying no. This child doesn't look like ours. So the elections bill as well still remains pending. We don't know what's going to happen with that. So I think we quickly run through those legal issues of the week, and then when we come back as well, we want to really interrogate the fight between the deputy president and the president and the deputy president, whichever you choose to look at it. But let's look at the legal issues. I want to start with you, President.
Well, I did my 1 hour submissions before the Supreme Court on the issue of the BBI. Before that, we'd done a lot of sped work before the High Court, the Court of Appeal, and both the High Court and the Court of Appeal took a very firm position on this matter. A prominent lawyer, a very good friend of mine, Amin Nasir Abdullahi, has said time without number, the weakest link in the judicial system in Kenya is the Supreme Court. You can do all you're doing before the High Court, the Court of Appeal, but the most pliable and available for manipulation would be the Supreme Court. Those are his words, not my words. On my part, I have the greatest conviction that the judges of the Supreme Court are up to the task. They realize the magnitude of the weight on their shoulders insofar as this matter. They appreciate the contrived attempts by certain key players to shape, to craft the trajectory of Kenya's election by seeking to allocate offices as an enticement towards a particular outcome. And it is our expectation that the Supreme Court will give a decision that will sustain this country, not just for 5 years, but for a long period of time. It is within their power. It is absolutely within their power, but they must do the right thing, not just for them as a court, but the right thing for us as Kenyans. The political parties bill that has been assented to by President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta was a nefarious enterprise intended to shepherd small parties, which parties have been formed by Uhuru Kenyatta himself, like this fertilizer party DAP amongst other parties, so that they go towards a particular direction.
Fertilizer party.
All intended.
What do you mean fertilizer party?
Yeah, in Trans Nzoia we grow a lot of maize, so I think Eugene Wamalwa must have reminisced about his days when, top dressing unaweka ammonia DAP. So
phosphate. DAP si top dressing, hiyo ni ya kupanda. Dr. Resig
So it's become a cropper. They have realized that amendment is likely to benefit Kenya Kwanza than even themselves. So they have woken up quickly. Oh, is there another act we can tinker with? They have decided to play with the Elections Act. And they're very targeted. They have gone to Section 39, which relates to the counting, tallying, transmission, and declaration of elections of president. They want to remove all the safeguards, the simultaneous transmission from the polling station to the National Tallying Center and to the Constituency Tallying Center, the dual verification exercise, and fundamentally the portal, the Tarakaniti United. They want to declare these elections in total darkness. In a nutshell,
the Taraka effect.
That's my view about these three legal points.
Yeah.
I think there's one of them which is still pending. The elections bill.
Yes, I've talked about the
elections bill
and the three
and the political the aspect of it.
So I think for me, Bitoke, my views are very simple. First of all, I mean, we are still very active in legal practice, so we will not comment so much matters that are very, very actively in court. But of course, we must say that we personally, I have confidence, unlike Ahmed Nasir. I have confidence in the judges of the Supreme Court. I know majority of them, from the legal profession. I know there are people who will put Kenya first and make the right decision for this country. We hope that they will not fall for political expediency and make some decisions that will injure this country in the future, because even for themselves, it will follow them. If they make the wrong decisions, time will tell. They will also be in trouble. So I don't really want to comment so much, because these matters are very active in court, and I'm also a participant in that Supreme Court decision. My party is actually an interested party there. So I will just say, I really, and I know that these judges will interpret the Constitution correctly and deliver a judgment that will help this country progress, both in terms of our constitutional democracy. So I really have faith. I hope they will do. I think we made very strong arguments, very strong argument, and we demonstrated why, for example, BBI was actually a scam, right from the very beginning. It started as a lie, that it's a handshake between two individuals that eventually, now became a constitutional making. And by the way, did you know actually, somewhere along the line, they started following the steps that Punguza Mizigo Kenya bill actually did. Because one, it started as a bedroom affair between two individuals. Then they start telling us, they didn't follow any. I mean, they didn't follow any of them.
It was a poor copy and paste.
It's a poor copy and paste. You remember they even infiltrated my party. They sponsored some political pests in my party. They went and presented Punguza Mizigo before them. So it was a lie all along, and I don't want to really try here to influence the minds of the judges, because they are my seniors in the profession, our seniors in the profession. I know they will do the right thing. And the right thing for me is to protect Kenya, because we cannot have a country where few individuals decide, let's form a government, let's expand the executive for our own purposes at the expense of the majority of Kenyans. And I think for me, I'll just leave it at that, because I don't want tomorrow to be cited for possible contempt.
Unaogopa kufungwa?
Siogopi kufungwa, lakini I respect the law, I respect the judiciary, I respect the judges, and because you see, I'm a participant. I'm an active.
Mimi naogopa, wacha niseme siogopi.
No, me I'm an active. No, me hata wakinifunga after doing the right thing, I don't mind. But sitaki tu kufungwa tu bure.
Yeah, we must respect judicial process.
Yeah. I want to respect judicial process.
Na kufungwa ovyo ovyo.
Sio ovyo ovyo. Nifunge lakini kwa
political parties bill.
On the political parties bill, of
and as well, what will happen if the cost is suspended?
We talk. Political parties bill, the problem is the timing. You know, in this country, and I think what they are trying to do with the political parties bill and even the Elections Act, is really to tinker and influence the election results. You know, that is exactly what they are trying to do. And you know, for me, I always say, you know, the people in charge of the institutions, either in the office of the Register of Political Parties, IEBC, they appear to have been compromised in a way, you know, and that's why all these proposed amendments are actually looking very weird. First of all, why bring it on the election year? 6 months to an election. The timing for me is so suspect. You know, are they telling us that there is something fundamentally wrong with the Political Parties Act today?
Okay, as it is.
As it is. Is there anything fundamentally wrong with the Elections Act? There's nothing. If there was, why didn't they bring this 2-3 years before? So the timing is very suspect, and we all know why. It's because somebody somewhere wants to influence the outcome of the election.
Absolutely.
That's the naked truth. Let's not lie about that. Because this election in our country has always been manipulated. Again, going back to Sabina Chege's confession, tulikuibia, lakini this time tutaona pia vile tunaweza kukusaidia. Unaona? Ni wizi utapeli wa kisiasa. And you can see all these is people actually who are in charge of government institutions actually manipulating even our laws. And that's why I go back to the point earlier I made, that I pray my preso here, Nelson HAVI, makes it to Parliament, because I know he's a sound lawyer, and he will be able to tell off some of these, you know, useless, you know, legislative proposals that are just targeting individuals. You know, you can never make laws for individuals. You know, for an individual. Laws are supposed to establish the common good. And the common good rests in society. How do we benefit society? That's what the law is supposed to be. It's not about a particular individual. And unfortunately, in Kenya today, the legislature or the parliament that we have today, National Assembly, is just Soko Jinga.
Okay.
You know, we don't even know some of those people.
Soko Mujinga.
Soko Jinga. And even madmen go there, and all they just do is, you know,
Jinga
too.
Aja tusikie bunge. Bunge hapa ni jambo.
Bunge la Mwananchi jambo.
Good morning, how are you?
This is Farid Faraj.
Farid Faraj, ujambo, mambo vipi?
Salama sana. Salamia daktari pale na the president.
Salimika bro, mambo vipi?
Salama kabisa.
Za mwaka mpya?
Mwaka mpya iko salama, bado tuko huko mashambani kidogo tunalima.
Sawa.
Mnaweka mbolea.
Wametupanisha DSC, wamechukua kwa chama. Sasa saini ndio sasa tunapiga nduru.
7,000. Panda mahindi.
Ni 7,000 sasa unapiga nduru, sasa unashangaa turudi Nairobi ama tutafanya rambia transport.
Sikuja Nairobi bwana. Nairobi ni shamba la mawe bro. Kama hapa lazima uje na mpango wa kutengeza hela.
tumekuwa Nairobi wa sasa tumeenda nyumbani kulima.
Akimeumana zaidi huko.
Na pesa imeishia huko sasa unashindwa what am I going to do? Na ukikosa kulima pia mwezi wa 9 wa 10 watu wakivuna tunasema lightning ngali.
Sasa ndio
ingalikuwa na njaa.
Lazima tupunguze mizigo maana yake ni mizigo wa Kenya wamebebeshwa kwa muda wote.
Sana. Sasa HAVI.
Naam.
Jikaze sana ndugu yangu
Nashukuru ndajikaza.
But I have a concern for you. Unajua kwa wakale there are things Bitok. Kuna kitu inaitwa ethan nandi. How inaitwa kwa kizungu?
Tabu.
Tabu. Like HAVI now, I will equate it to a pregnant woman. It is a taboo for a pregnant woman to laugh at a lame person or make jokes of a lame person. HAVI, your political career now, you are pregnant. We expect you to deliver the Westland seat and become a politician and now a sitting MP.
Thank you.
Stop laughing at Narailas of the day. If they have done something wrong, if they are lame in their own capacities, you make sure that you do your own clean politics. Don't laugh at them because if you laugh at them, currently if you laugh at a lame person when you're pregnant, you will give birth to a lame person or whoever is in the stomach might die. So I don't want to give us birth to a lame politician, HAVI. We want a vibrant politician as the way you have been as a president.
Thank you.
Sawa.
Asante sana Girgit.
Hii kitu ya political parties amendment. These are things that they're just running around. They want us to divert our attention from politics and they want to incite Kenyans into war. Because you cannot set the rules of the game when the game has already started. When I say the game has already started, the IBC has already gazetted the date. Everything is set. When they're gazetting the dates, they're using the previous laws. If you start changing them now, you are going to incite the one side that will feel they might be disadvantaged by the passing of that law. And I think they have noticed the laws might not sail through because it might also affect the parliamentarians. If they are going to rig you out or if somebody else has an upper hand on how to use that law, they will rig you out, although you might lose your seat. So they have also decided to sit behind. And again, you see when there's new people, they have good lawyers. The likes of Akina Orengo, the likes of Otendo Amolo Daktari. But you see now they were not able to listen to them when they were presenting to them the technicalities of the BPI. They felt like they will just stamp all through and make it a law into Kenyans. But the courts have proved themselves out. But as we are waiting for the verdict from the Supreme Court, which might also give them some advantage. Because the way I was listening to those submissions, the judges were asking questions as if they have something towards the other end. But let me not cast aspersions to our judges. We hope they will give us the best. And I really have belief in the rule of law. That is where, as a common mwananchi, I can be heard. That is my only platform where I can get my heard. But if we cast aspersions to them now, it is going to become a puppet of the judiciary, of the legislature and the executive if these laws pass. Because now we are not going to have a strong judiciary as it is now, because people will be using the ombudsman to curtail their work. Yeah, so asante sana. Nikuja Nairobi, I'll look for you people. My vote is now for Westland HAVI, so unafaa niongeleshe vizuri.
Inafaa kutafutia fare hasa kutoka ushago. Je, umekwama?
HAVI sasa faa nilete sasa Nairobi.
Kimbia pale Soi uchukue kuku mbili pale kwangu mbili tuchukue 3 mbili kwa yangu.
Nitakuwa Kakamega on the 11th hii ya Kalwale hii declaration kesho nitakuwa Kakamega.
Kwa volcano, nataka kuwitness volcano iki erupt.
Nataka erupt na mimi.
Sasa hadi kwake. Also utatafuta mbunge wako wa Westland.
Utatafuta mbunge wangu alinipatia transport ya kuja, asante.
Akupea lift. Asante, thank you so much Farid Faraji. Haya, bunge la mwananchi nambari ni 779-800-010. Bunge la mwananchi 779-800-010. Unaweza piga kuweza kuchangia kwenye mazungumzo ya leo. You can call in and contribute to the conversation that we are having today. And it's interesting how Kenyans are enlightened about the things that matter to them, especially on law. And if there's something that really comes out strongly from what Faraji is saying is, as a citizen, the law or the courts are their place of refuge. Now, if we defile those spaces where a common citizen feels that this is where I run to and I feel covered, what are the risks? Because there's a discussion we've been having today that, if we defile those avenues. Any feedback that you want on that call? From your voter?
You know, I will just emphasize what we've spoken about here. Dr. and myself have said the rule of law is the fabric that sustains a civilized society. And it's for that reason that all of us, especially lawyers who stand for something, will always respect decisions of the court, even if we don't agree with them. You understand? And it is a big satisfaction to note that many Kenyans seek refuge and are satisfied that the judicial process is one that we must look up to, is one that we must protect. But therein lies something that we must all be vigilant of, the determined effort by the executive to emasculate, to interfere with the independence of the judiciary. This must be fought at all costs. And when we point out certain limited instances where we perceive certain individuals in the state, especially the executive, trying to manipulate the judiciary, it is not a manifestation of lack of faith in the judiciary. We have a lot of faith in the judiciary, but eternal vigilance is paramount in ensuring that that independence and accountability is maintained. And I, on my part, as a lawyer and as president of the Law Society of Kenya, I have been committed to ensuring that decisions of the court are respected, and if somebody is dissatisfied with the decision, he or she must go to the next court.
Absolutely.
Until you reach the last court of mistake.
All right. Good morning, Bunge la Mwananchi.
Morning, Vito, how are you?
Salama sir. Who am I speaking to?
This is Maxwell.
Yes, Maxwell. How are you?
I'm fine. My greetings to the scholars in the studio.
Thank you.
Including me, Professor.
Yeah, you are the man.
Yes.
Now, let me just make some few points. Number one, there's something that you guys also need to interrogate critically. A lot of PSS from, let's say, who supports the president, and they were expected to resign.
Yeah.
You see, there's also a good thing in expectation. You guys did not resign. These guys are holding very critical positions in the government. We have all these laws being changed left, right, and center on a daily basis. You're having Sabina Chege talking as if now he's campaigning for Raila in Siaya instead of going to Murang'a to campaign for Raila. And he's just speaking like, he knows something that nobody else knows. It is something that I feel there's more than what meets the eye. For people not, you expect these as kingpins, these are leaders, these are people who would have, made some contribution in the political scene, but just decided to bury their heads and say, maybe there are things that, we foresee coming up in the near future. Number two, there's a statement that William Ruto made in Western when the president said, mambo ya kukaa juu ya gari. As much as he replied, there's one thing he said, that we know what we have done good and what we've done wrong. So that alone, I felt was an admission that yes, as a government, there are good things they have done, and there are also bad things that have happened. And they are, the problem with this country is now William Ruto takes the bad Jubilee, Uhuru takes the good Jubilee. So hivi vitu tugawe katikati tuwachane.
Matrimonial property.
Yes, hii ni yetu sisi wote, ikiwa mzuri si yako, ikiwa mbaya ni yangu, tugawane katikati 50-50.
That's a very nice analogy, by the way.
Number three, I think I have heard Dr. Kari there talking about dishonest in politics. I think this is it. you need to sit with the president there and just, craft some agreement. You come to Kenya Kwanza, because this is what we are talking about. it is about betrayal.
Yeah.
These guys who are together in Kenya Kwanza are talking about betrayal. And we cannot talk about betrayal down here if we don't talk about betrayal up there.
But
these things, because we are not trickle down effect.
Hold on, my brother. But listen, I want you to respond to this. So let's have a conversation. Betrayal of who? Because you see, these individuals betray each other. But what about Kenyans who are betrayed by these same individuals? I think for me, that's where my focus was. When I talk about dishonesty in politics, it's about how the ordinary Kenyan is being played by this same individual, because they agree among themselves tufanye hivi leo, kesho ukikosana Mkenya ndio anadhulumiwa. So I think for me, yes, there's betrayal, but of who? Who is being betrayed?
Now, Dr. Let's look at it this way. Let's be spiritual a bit. When the head is rotten, you expect the whole body to get
absolutely
rotten, yeah?
They say the fish starts rotting from the head.
Yes. If the betrayal is happening up there, by default and automatically, the betrayal will happen down here. So a lot of these things in Kenya, everything is trickled down, including betrayal and dishonest. It is trickled down. So we have to sort betrayal from up there, where you presidential candidates and people who are cutting deals up there decide not to betray one another. If you agree on something, agree on something. For us down here, you are not betraying anyone. Me, I'm in a business with a Luo man, and I'm a Kalenji. We are partners. We are not betraying each other. We've been doing business together. But when the image up there shows betrayal and dishonest, you expect that katabia kateremuke kwa veins kuje mpaka huku chini. So let's sort it up there. We deal with this betrayal thing up there, and I'm sure at some point, even if it will not change all of us, it will change at least 50% of our tabia. So I think fixing politics is fixing this country. Fixing the decision-making arm in this nation is fixing this country. And I think we should start there. First of all, let's get rid of these Watapeli. The two of them, the Nal and his buddy, Void. And then we start from there.
But bro, hawa watu wote wamekuwa kwa siasa bwana. Tangu for the last wamekuwa partners, wamekuwa nini sasa? Then we get rid of all of them. That's why for me mimi nataka kuleta punguza mizigo. Tupunguze hii watu wote because hawa watu wote ni mizigo.
In fact, Daktari,
yes.
You have in fact, like for me, I signed your online punguza mzigo. I signed because I subscribe to it.
Thank you.
A lot of us don't have a problem with you. We know we love how you do this thing. But now what we are saying is, let's agree. When a ticket like Raila, Kalonzo, Uhuru, Ruto are on the ticket, now we are being told Ruto is disrespecting the president when he akimujibu. Lakini sasa wakati ambapo Ruto alikuwa na make promise on his behalf when they were together and they were agreeing. I'm looking at it like this thing was pre-planned before 2017, that anything that he says will not be implemented so that we can use against him.
Unajua what they are saying, eh? I asked some friends of mine in politics. You know me, I also talked to some of these people. Niko nauliza, shida ya Rais Uhuru Kenyatta na William Ruto ni nini? Na tuko na President HAVI here, who is now in the Ruto's camp. Maybe ataweza kutuambia. Lakini waliniambia, lakini but huyu jamaa tulinunua support yake. Yeah, alilipwa, alipata bahasha. Sasa hizi hawezi kusema ati mambo ya miaka 5, miaka 10 yangu, ati miaka 10 yako. Labda HAVI yako na different view, lakini wanasema walimlipa, he sold support and he cashed the check. Okay. So Mkenya wa kawaida wako wapi?
Haya, Maxwell, mawazo yako ya mwisho tukifunga.
Finally, Dr. Yeah? Either they did business by buying, he bought loyalty and the guy was loyal.
Hata Raila alipewa bahasha.
Until the buyer decided to misbehave. Yes. Then you have to teach the buyer a lesson. Have a good day, gentlemen. Thank you.
So it's time to teach the buyer a lesson. 779-800-010 779-800-010. Simu ya mwisho tunaona kuna wangwana hapo ni mwaangusha. Kama nambari yako inaisha na 919 ingine 515 kuna nyingine isha na 5740. The first person to come in is the one whose call will go through on the 7779-800-010. Bunge la Mwananchi wa 779-800-010. Comments hapa pia Bas Njuguna anasema reckless talk that they can still steal votes. This is a talk that I enjoy to hear. Thank you, Daniel. Kate Mwanja, good conversation, sir. Falling from Perth, Australia. Thank you so much, guys, from diaspora as well. This diasporans, bana, you know, we had a pending trip to Australia. I talked to these guys, let them prepare the documents for us. Alafu tuweze kusonga. Haya. Bunge la Mwananchi, jambo.
Jambo, jambo.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you. Falamia EKURU EUKOT na Nelson Havi.
Tunasalimika bro.
Tunasalimika, asante ndugu.
Azungumza na.
Habari ya Mwananchi.
Si mbaya.
Kampia tuko tunajikaza kama wa Kenya.
Ni watu wanakosa fair tu.
Tunavumilia tuko wa Kenya.
So, niko na 3 things ama 2.
Haya, kimbiza mbio.
One ni Dr. EKURU EUKOT Huyu jamaa anajua hapo sawa, anaweza kuwa president.
Lakini shida iko hapo.
The reality on the ground,
Yes.
Lazima uanze, unaona venye Havi amemwambia.
Vitu kwa ground.
Hii Kenya bana, huwezi amka leo na kuwa president. Ni ngumu. Yes, akona ideas, you can deliver a lot to this country, but now the ground, my friend, voters si wale unafikiria na watu wengine tofauti. So angeingia kwa bunge ama aingie kwa senate, wajipange huko sasa, wakuwe na group kama kina Havi. They can change it from there. They can save Kenya from parliament. Wakikuwa na watu wengi wapushi agenda za wananchi. Kitu kingine sasa ni kwa Havi. Naona Havi anataka kwa MP Westland. Na huko niko na gang kubwa sana. Niko na voters huko. Najua mimi nimekaa sana Kangemi na Udhiri.
Yala.
Na nimefanya uchunguzi, mambo yake si mbaya.
Iko so.
Ukienda pale bottom line, angalia vijana hapo sawa kabisa.
Sawa.
Sasa wewe kuwa chief campaigner wa Prezo bwana. Tunataka Prezo ingie bunge.
Hata ingie hata nani EKURU, wewe tafuta njia uingie bunge. Anzia bunge, ujipange huko vizuri, uko na watu huko.
Mimi nataka kupambana na hao wazee huko juu bwana. Kwani huko juu mmeachia nani?
Najua reality ile, naona nakwambia vizuri bwana. Hiyo wanaume bwana atakufinya katikati bwana. Mimi nilikuwa nifanyia kwa nini punguza mzigo.
Najua, lakini si walikubali sababu punguza mzigo ilikuwa ni hoja safi kwa Wakenya. In fact, wacha nikwambie bro, nobody throws a stone to a tree that does not have fruits. And when they fought me in punguza mzigo, I knew we have a great idea.
Yeah, but you see also a good workout,
Yes sir.
Kuna vita huwezi pigana nayo. Lingana na uwezo wako.
Hata David bwana na Goliath walipambana.
Na Goliath.
Nani boyo? Mimi naomba hivi. Najaribu kuuliza tafadhali. Ambia daktari ambatane nasi. Ndege yangu kesho iko na nafasi moja. Twende na yeye Kakamega. Aingie Kenya kwanza. Unajua tunamhitaji sana huyo jamaa.
Kama principal.
Na tutamweka ndani kama principal. Na unajua sini watu wa kutoka bottom tukienda up. Anataka tukakule aingie bottom kwanza.
Anataka trickle down.
Aingilie bottom pale. Na mimi nimekubali nimpeleke kwa Dr. William Samoei Ruto kesho. Tumalize maneno one time.
Sikiza. President Havi alikuwa anauliza watu watu wanatoa wapi pesa ya ndege. Sasa leo amekubali.
Hata nimeshangaa hata ana lift yangu, hata nafasi yangu. Amesema kuna nafasi ya EKURU peke yake. Amejifinya
kidogo na tafuta
ameshukisha mtu mmoja
na yangu ni ile skyward ama nini tunapandanga nini
skyward
ile ndege yenye kuna miguu chini hiyo
sio ndege sio
helicopter is too high for my means man.
Ni waje tumsikize amalize.
Haya ya tatu ulikuwa na 2 ulikuwa na 3.
So ya mwisho ni kwa Havi I think they ana access the DP Naona siku DP anajibu kujibu bana. So nilikuwa nataka umwambie mzee bana angalia vitu bana. I don't down bana. These countries unajua kuna wafuasi wake akisikia akifanya hivyo wanaweza leta vurugu. So pia mzee auze sera achana na hizo kujibishana na president. Yeye itamsaidia anything. Sana kama mlimkosea Wakenya wanajua.
That's why
kuna haja.
Haya.
Sawa mkono.
Thank you so much brother. Enjoy your day. Now tumeka kitu ya weekend bwana.
Sasa nyinyi ndio mnakaa na huko, unasikia nani anasema anakaa na next to the king bana, huko kwa wakubwa.
Ni president.
Kirigiti ni sawa, ndio kusukumia kitu kidogo.
Acha tupige kitu sisi basi.
Hivi leo asituache.
Atupige kitu sisi.
Aongea na sisi.
Na tugonya. Inaitwa ntayas.
Jamaa anasema nikate keki. Unajua sasa nikate keki. Ndio katia usijali.
Asante ndugu yangu. Thank you so much. Asante sana tu wabunge la mwenyeji. Tumefunga bunge alafu basi tuweze kufunga tukielekea kuisha mjadala. Walter Jusa Musio kianasema masking is my president. HE Dr. EKURU WESWTLAND running for president. Swala nyeti ndio hiyo. Simon wa Samuel Wathika anasema weka hata namba ya Airtel bana. Ndaweka Safaricom ndio neutral kwa kila mtu. Simon Thika anasema if I can borrow words from Maranga, the drum beats of politics have started beating. Okay? All right. Farid Faraja Abbas ndio anasema DAP Kenya is an insult to farmers in the North Rift with the current price of fertilizer at 7,000. Langat Geoffrey watching from Kisumu. Asante sana tu Kisumu. Just to my brilliant minds. Good to see you. Max Kimeli. Bwana Daktari, we are already discussing that. Politics of betrayal. Kenya Kwanza principles are the most betrayed in Kenya. So it's a union of those who have been betrayed. Okay. Kenya politics. Wakora ni null and this body void. Tuanze hapo. Okay. Muleko Omokawaya. Anasema country Kenya belongs to all. To us all. That's why we want another tribe to rule. We don't want Kikuyu Kalenjin rule only in Kenya. We need change. Okay? Ashar Alfred Bitok Tale Kuru Kenya in politics is like Mtona Mawe. Just follow between the two. As Miro Kenya, one and I recommend Gani. Yeah. Jerio at KE and I'm watching from Elroy. Dr. and President are discussing professionally. Thank you. Bas Njuguna, this Utapeli is what the UDA ANC and for Kenya want to end in August. Okay. Jeffrey Rock agree with the caller. Our court should vie for a parliamentary seat and scale from there upwards, bottom up. On watu wa Facebook. Kaja nangilo watu wa YouTube bia kidogo. Brian Kiwa sema Kabarak University logged in borrowing wisdom from the most elite. Joen Jagi, watu wangu wa Canada. Jamaa alisema tukienda Canada pale. Yes. Akona dawa legit. Dawa legit. Pale Joen Jagi anasema please be talk, ask the good lawyers about the BBI ruling in Supreme Court. I think we have spoken on that. Those are, I feel perturbed by the amendment on Section 7 of the Elections Act, transfer of registration. What is the rationale? Why the conditions? Is it even constitutional? Right. The King of Samuda, thank you David for this. David Ngatich, politics is the science of balancing social issues, current issues and prosperity and future. The Kenyan politics is as just individual interest and nothing else. King of Samuda, of course you are saying the truth. Most Kenyans don't want to agree on the fact. If it quacks like a duck, walks like a duck, then it's definitely a duck. Eric Jamor, it's politics that leads to prosperity or destruction. Prosperity does not shape politics. Politics shapes prosperity. That is why the economists, lawyers, scientists seek politics to change the economy. King of Zambuda voted for EUKOT in the previous election, and right now I know and my conscience is okay on whom I'll vote for. It's not going to be this devil. All right, okay. Just randomly sampling comments. Just to ensure that I get a pick. In your opinion, Wakilis, what do you think is the motivation in those who have been at the apex of their careers, both in public, private sector, moving to politics? Is it really in public interest? And I think, like I said somehow yesterday, Kenya is the only country that has more aspirants than voters. Kama kwenu amuna mheshimiwa mtarajiwa mjiite mkutano, there's a problem in your family. If in your household you don't have someone who's running for office, nafaa mjiite kama mkutano mahali mjiulize shida iko wapi, because Kenya for the first time in 2022 every household has a person who's running for office. All right, we are 10 minutes to the top of the
Bitok. There's a question that has been asked by one of our listeners called Mera Mera. Okay. Anauliza, it's on Facebook, has Sabina Chege been arrested and is she, or she's untouchable? I want to compare that with what Jamatian said the other week, that the failure of security in this country, then it calls for people to defend themselves. And that's the law. Self-defense is legal. But Leo tukona women represented from Muranga who says we stole an election in 2017.
But nobody's bothered.
And nobody's bothered. Jamatian said, kama serikali haiwezi kutulinda,
tujilinda.
Lazima tujilinde. Okay. Kama ni kuchanga pesa za kununua bunduki na risasi, because they are bandits, they are terrorists, terrorizing people. And then she was arrested. She is asking, or this Mera Mera is asking, when will Sabina Chege be arrested or be asked to explain a statement of stolen votes.
You know, Dr. I always say let's not glorify mediocrity. Sabina Chege is a manifestation of mediocrity. She's a fool. She's a lunatic. People should see her for who she is. And let's move out of the personality. Let's now look at the issues that group espouses. We do not want to buy fear. We'll not even pick it in the market if it's given for free. The Kenya Kwanza movement is very strong. We will win this election. And the people of Kenya must turn out in big numbers and vote for Dr. William Samoei Ruto as president. It's as simple as that. You see, the point is this, Dr. These goons claim they stole from Raila. Why should he have satisfaction that they will steal for him? A thief is just a thief. But for us to progress, we don't need to give a lot of media coverage to this lunacy. But we just need to cut it. At the point, she will not be arrested. That's the fact of the matter. Yeah, she looks like a sacred cow from the way she looks like. She will not be arrested. But the point is, let us enlighten the people of Kenya to discard people with this mentality. And there are many of them. And for us to have progress, for us to have agendas that are transformative to the people, for them to make a proper choice for leaders, they need to see the objectivity of the issues. And for a fact, we have indicated that cabal of individuals that was in Viga yesterday, they represent that which we do not want. We don't, let me give clemency. We don't want her arrested. There is nothing wrong in being foolish. We want her schooled.
President. No. President, I think you're missing my point. Whether she's a lunatic or a miscreant or whatever she is, she is like that. But I'm just talking about, I'm now focused, tunaita hii kipindi tunaita Sheria Wiki Hii. Did she confess of having committed an election offense?
She did.
That for me, I mean, that's why I'm saying we will not glorify idiocy and stupidity, whatever it is. But I think the fact that she confessed that tulivunja sheria, the same way, that's why I brought the issue of Jamatian, who said, how can our people, but and I agree with the Jamatian, they can even arrest me now if they want. I'll defend you. I come from Kapedo. And in Kapedo, we bury people every day because of this Pokot banditry. Not all Pokots, and I want to put a disclaimer here. There are Pokot terrorists who are being used by some individuals. Especially those individuals, some of them are in that Azimio, and we know who they are. So Jamatian was speaking the truth that our people are being killed every day. We have police here who cannot intervene. So, and she was arrested. So all I'm also saying, Sabina Chege yesterday confessed to a commission of an offense known to law. I don't care level of stupidity. I will not even entertain a level of idiocy.
It's aggravated.
It is. But amesema tulifanya hivi. But President, let me also be critical to you now. Sabina Chege was actually in your camp in 2017.
Which is my camp in 2017, Dr.
President, the guy you are supporting now, William Samoei Ruto, walikuwa na Sabina Chege namna hii. So if they stole for Raila in 2017, was your presidential candidate part of that stealing? Tuambie tu kweli. Because Sabina Chege is saying, after your presidential candidate, alikuwa kwa hiyo kabalia kuibia nani? Raila. And that's why for me, President, even as you respond to me, I still think, Bitok, we need to continuously hold a conversation around the dishonesty in our politics. Because what Sabina Chege actually brought out yesterday is that 2017, they are all campaigning for Uhuru Kenyatta and William Samoei Ruto. And during that time, they actually stole votes for Raila Amolo Odinga. Today, Sabina Chege ako na Raila Amolo Odinga and she is confessing to Lukuibia. Lakini pia this time to the
tutakupea wewe.
Sasa huyu candidate wa prezo wangu Nelson Avi pia anajua hiyo wizi ama ajui. Hapo unajua tunafanya tackling.
Wacha nikujibu hii tackle.
Nijibu.
Kwa uchunguzi wangu nimeangalia kwa makini sana. Raila ameshinda uchaguzi mara moja tu
2007. We all agree.
2007. That is a given. You understand?
That's true.
Yeah, you know, sometimes when you go to a bar, there are these people who's like speaking big. You have this investment here, have another one here.
Yeah.
We should take Sabina Chege's pronouncements from that perspective. Because in 2017, I was in ODM. Mimi mwenyewe nilienda Likuyani kupiga kura. Nikakuja na form 34A kutoka kwa polling station Shikulu. Na tulikuwa tumekubaliana watu wote tubebe hizo forms. Hawa matapeli wa ODM hakuna yote aliyebeba ile form. Yaani wewe unajua kuchunga ng'ombe. Ukienda kuchunga ng'ombe na kondoo paka urudishe zote boma. Huwezi kusema sijui zingine zilienda wapi. So ukweli wa mambo ni huu. Huo ni uzushi. Sabina Chege is trying to gain some relevance, but you can't ascribe relevance. But
relevance anatuambia kwamba kuna makosa tulifanya.
Ekuro, I need you to be optimistic. You don't stop procreation because of miscarriage. We need to have hope. You understand? All of us are hurting. Many Kenyans are hurting. But there is no other Kenya. This is the only Kenya we have. There is no other way of electing leaders than through the ballot. And that is why I strongly believe you must get into the race and run for Senate or member of National Assembly. We need you inside.
I want to run for president.
Ekuro, please, listen to me. We need you in Kenya Kwanza. These are the resources we need. Brilliant minds. People with the ability to speak, to convince, to create conviction. You are the middle class, the semi-elite, upper class, the people in suits that need to appreciate the bottom-up economic model, pesa mfukoni. We need you. I plead with you, don't lose hope. Don't be distracted by individuals like Sabina Chege. Imagine, Ekuro, with your level of learning, you're disturbed by the pronouncement of that minion. Please, discard it.
No,
have hope.
But unfortunately, Prezo, unfortunately, and you and I have been in this country for the period we've been, what Sabina Chege is actually saying, and I'm not bothered. I mean, I don't think much of her.
I would even differentiate her from a kind of pain
yes.
over matter.
I don't want to think much of her, and I don't even think we should talk about her.
Yeah.
I am concerned at the confession that we actually stole an election. This is a breach, Prezo, as you know, of our election laws. And it probably what denied...
You need him to be optimistic.
No, I am optimistic. I'm optimistic, but I'm also saying I do not want to encourage a culture of impunity where people today will say, we broke the law yesterday. Okay? We'll still break it, but in your favor. Because now I'm not in that political camp. Okay. That for me is my concern. I don't care. I mean, Sabina Chege is nothing to me. I mean, it's not even somebody I can have a conversation with, to be honest. You know?
All right, your tackles of the day. We are 1 minute to the top of the hour. Your tackle of the day.
Please go first.
Look, I emphasize there's the need for the semi-elite, the middle class and the upper class, to embrace the bottom-up pesa mfukoni economic model of Kenya Kwanza. And to that extent, I can say affirmatively, we've made tremendous progress in convincing the rest of the population.
Okay.
The remainder of this population that I'm speaking to still labors in a false construct, a construct that has been marketed by ODM to portray our side, to portray Dr. William Ruto as an individual who is not capable of leading. But you must look at people like myself. You think I will get into this movement if it didn't have anything worth? I want professionals to see the light. I want them to participate in the choice of leadership in Kenya. It's only through that that will improve the economy, will sustain the democratic space, and will have the rule of law to sustain, not just for 5 years, but for as long as we remain on this earth. That is my plea to the people of Kenya. Thank you.
All right.
Well, for me, to be honest, I just want to appeal to Kenyans that going forward, tufungue macho. Tusikubali kudanganywa. Kuna siasa nyingi sana ya utapeli ambayo inaendelea kwa nchi sasa hivi. All these formations, whatever they are, I mean, despite being their constitutional right to participate in a political process, but I still want to insist, we need to begin to talk about how do we sanitize our politics. The level of dishonesty we are seeing, the level of betrayals, for me, it is nauseating. And at the end of the day, after election, so what? And this is maybe what Kenyans needs to think about. Yeah, people will support a certain presidential candidate and probably even hate each other and kill each other. Watu wakiingia kwenye mamlaka, they forget about you. And I think it's about time that we Kenyans start thinking about ourselves as a people, as a society. What does this election mean for us? It's not what it means for them. Unaona? Because hata saizi prezo HAVI here, yeah, wawezi kutukanganya hapa ati in the 21st century ati wheelbarrow ndio mnatuletea. Na wale wengine wanatuambia ati azimio la ukora. Azimio la umoja tulimaliza 1963 wakati tulimfurusha mkoloni. Unaona? But that azimio la umoja was betrayed over the decades by these same people. So in the 21st century, hebu tuangazie ni mambo gani tunaweza kuwafanyia wa Kenya ili kila mtu akwe na nini na ile ubora wa maisha, unaona? Because Bitok, there is a very tired examples we keep on giving, that he said in the 1960s Kenya was at par with the tiger economies of Singapore, South Korea, Malaysia, akina Thailand and the rest. But 50 years later, our age mates, saizi, everybody for example, in Singapore, a very tiny little island, is a millionaire.
Yes.
He's a millionaire. Sisi hapa Kenya, tuliambiwa 1963, when we go to uchaguzi, that will eradicate disease, ignorance, and poverty. I think today there are more poor Kenyans than there were before. So, azimio la umoja, because is it what?
It's ODM.
No,
why are you giving it a name that doesn't belong?
I'm just talking about the concept.
ODM.
Yes, Preso. What I'm saying is,
organize
all this concept of azimio la umoja in 1963, going forward,
azimio there was azimio la mwananchi
was betrayed. Akina HAVI here wanataka kuniambia mimi ati mturukana wetu kwa Todonyang apatiwe sijui ati wheelbarrow atafanyia nini? Wheelbarrow ni kazi ya mijengo. Uchumi ndio hiyo imesambaratika.
Tujenge uchumi. Ndio lazima tuende mjengo. Tuende mjengo. For me, you're saying Azimio is ODM, but for me, I think Azimio is Jubilee. It's more Jubilee than ODM.
No, Azimio is ODM.
No, actually,
Jubilee is trying to stay alive.
The truth for the matter is Azimio is Uhuru Kenyatta. Uhuru Kenyatta wants to
because ODM is dying.
Uhuru Kenyatta wants to do
ODM is dying.
Uhuru Kenyatta wants to do a third term through a very tired old man called Raila Amolo Odinga.
All right, this is a tackle.
That's not it.
And when you're tackled, you have to accept you have been tackled.
It is a tackle. Here. We determine what hate speech is. So don't worry.
I'm covered. I'm covered by the law. I'm surrounded by the law.
Somebody has said Sabina Joy.
Is there joy there?
There's no joy. It's Sabina.
There's no joy in Sabina.
I know joy in Sabina. It's been the Friday edition of Sheria Wiki on the 11th of February 2022. And we've been with President Nelson HAVI and I've been with two presidents today. I'm surrounded by the presidency. I feel good. When they go near me, when they untie me this morning, I think I'll be
the last time
I'll be living life.
Two presidents were together was when Barack Obama and Bill Clinton went to Jerusalem to bury General Ariel Sharon. Wow. Because Bill Clinton has very good friends in Jerusalem. So Barack alikuwa amesimama. Huyu jamaa ako wapi twende bana? So wewe jamaa twende bana.
Since it happened in Jerusalem, it doesn't happen again. It's happening here where I'm visited by the troops.
Just for the avoidance of doubt, what Preso is saying,
yes.
No, weekend yetu itakuwa mzuri. Because nimeona watu wanateta siku hizi. Isaac Mwaura last weekend. Alikuwa anaturingia. Anatuambia nilipeana 1 million. Sijui 1 million hapa, na pia na 1 million. Sasa mimi naona hapa Preso is making some very good
Twende kunywa chai bana.
Haya, ndio tukunywa supu. Tukunywa supu after this. This has been the tackle the Friday edition of the 11th of February 2022. Sheria Wiki with Dr. EKURU and President Nelson HAVI. See you again on Monday on the Common Sense edition. Until then, take care. This is the tackle and it ends now. Bye-bye. We love you.
Fantastic. Good day.